Hello everybody. I made 2 additional videos to this. I was planning on making a part 1 and a part 2, but I think it would be very good to make an introductory video. I'm going to have both of those part 1s and part 2s unlisted in the comments in the description box. I'm going to have the summary of what the entire argument is in the comment section as a pinned post. If you don't want to watch this entire thing, save a bit of time, you can go down the comment section, and I should have as much context, the most amount of context and the minimal amount of text, so it gets you in and out and on your way. That's the whole goal of it. So if you don't want to listen here the entire time, description box for the other two. If you don't want to spend your time watching this, please go to the comment section and read the argument. If you want more context and as to what I am talking about and how I derived that information, what my principles are, what my values are, where I came from, maybe what my background is, that's in part 1, and then going through the argumentation, where I stop, why I do certain things, etc., that's in part 2. That's a longer video. I think it's about 47 minutes or so. So, again, that's as much information. Please go and do those things. But let me just sum up the video. Let me sum up my argumentation in this video, and I'll have all the information in as much context as possible. Please go watch the entire Christianity's Biggest Problem from CosmicSkeptic. I'll have that link down below as well. So, and let's get right into this. What you see before you in Christianity's Biggest Problem, and he does preface it very well. He's a very good communicator. It's phenomenal. It's awesome. He brings up TikTok as being one of the greatest evils in society. It's hilarious. It's funny. It's laughable. It's good. it's good, darn it. That Christianity's biggest problem is animal suffering. And the premise that he talks about is that there is so much suffering that exists, period, with that happens all throughout human history, all up until this point. It's boundless in its scope, and it happens every day with no reason whatsoever, seemingly. And then he talks about how animal suffering happens far more, to much greater severity, with or without humans. For example, a tree falls over, crushes a deer's leg. It winds up hungry, starving, dehydrated, and ends up dying in a very horrible manner. So these are the premise is so amazing. I mean, like, let me rephrase this. It's like, I understand where he's coming from, and I think that is a phenomenal point that you are bringing up. But it is very unfortunate, and I really am just going to read the premise that I wrote, because my mind can wander so much when I'm going off one topic to another, and when I'm thinking out loud, I might realize, oh wait, that's not the direction that I want to go. Maybe it's this direction. So I'm just going to be reading the comment section down below. Please go read it. I highly recommend it, etc. So CosmicSkeptic's premise is the biggest problem Christianity has is that there is so much more animal suffering than human suffering. How could God be a loving God if this is true? And there's 2 responses that actually play into each other that discredit not animal suffering. Do not get me wrong. We're not talking about the problem of animal suffering that is objective to both CosmicSkeptic and I. Like the majority of people, I say the majority because there's always one person trying to say, well, there's no animal suffering because I closed my eyes, therefore it doesn't exist. Trying to philosophicalize whatever it is, like, trying to dissect it or try to rethink it in a certain way. The majority of people can understand, can actually look, this is animal suffering. Look, this is bad. We both disagree on the thing existing. The thing is, it's not the problem that we are having an issue with, the problem of animal suffering. We both are addressing the problem of animal suffering. He's bringing up a problem to the problem of animal suffering as to why or what's the reason for it to exist. And here are my responses to that. Again, I think the premise, the framework of the entire video is flawed, because he's valuing animals the same as humans. And because animals and humans are the same through veganism, that is why animals, because there is such a large, I don't want to say discrepancy, but there's such a large or larger amount of animals that are suffering, and to greater degrees, and they're ripping each other to shreds, and just horrible activities that are happening, birds falling from their nests and then they just get crushed down below, and it happens every single day. The issue is the framework that there's so many other frameworks, and again, please go into the videos because I'm about to get sidetracked. Let me just read the context. Response 1, and then there's going to be a second one, and then it plays into the first one. CosmicSkeptic uses loving God from the Christian Bible. He pulls an idea from the Bible, but he pulls the idea from the Bible, the loving God. He pulls loving God from the Bible, but he does not have the context from that same Bible. It's like, it's sort of nitpicking of like, well, this loving God. Well, what did the loving God say about humans? What did the loving God say about the animals? He doesn't bring that up. He only brings up loving God. That's a major issue. I didn't come up with that until he actually made the video and I was thinking through it. So I do have props for him for allowing me that opportunity to think that through. Suffering is not a problem either atheists or Christians have a problem addressing. Without God, atheism still has the same problem or suffering. Meaning, if we remove God from the scenario, God's gone, Christianity's gone, Islam is gone, Catholicism gone, you could probably even say Buddhism. I don't know if that would be considered more of a religion, etc., with God essentially, but Judaism, gone. God is gone. You and I are still both addressing a problem we are objectively able to measure. It's objective. We can observe it. That's not the issue. Christianity, on the other hand, specifically Christianity, is a solution to that problem. Yeah, it's a solution. And again, we're about to address animal suffering. I probably should put response 1 into response 2 and make response 2 response 1, which I'll probably do some editing in the comment section. So, hey, lucky you, for the few people that are watching this, you get to see me mess up. Oh man, it's fun to mess up because it allows you to grow. So anybody out there, it's like, it's good to mess up because you get to grow as a person. Like, oh, a CosmicSkeptic, he probably made some very horrible videos and very bad arguments when he was younger. It's good that he continues growing. That's a good thing. That's a great thing. Good for everybody, including myself, everybody. So Christianity is a solution to the problem of suffering, the ending of suffering, by having a relationship and faith in Christ, God. God, specifically Jesus Christ, removes suffering. You put your faith and trust in Jesus Christ, the teachings of the Bible, specifically. You put your trust and faith in having a relationship with Jesus Christ, your suffering ends. It doesn't mean you don't have pain. Pain, annoyance, anger, and frustration happens, but there's no need to suffer anymore. That's the key. And there's many other nuanced argumentation. There's many nuanced things within the Bible that are more specific as to how this is arrived or derived. The thing is that the summation is that you put your faith and love and trust and guidance in Jesus Christ, and then he heals any and all suffering and that's what happens. The suffering ends because of that. And if you have real world suffering, that's a probably different thing. So, and again, new life, new growth, etc. So, again, that could probably be more specific of a problem that could be addressed. But Christianity, that's from where I'm going, that Christianity is a solution, if not the solution to the problem. He and I are both addressing that there is animal suffering. Okay? The physical solution is having some form or some manner of an ecosystem that is self-controlled, that doesn't have an automatic loop in which animals are preying on each other, but instead animals are just able to procreate and make and create, and we have a specific set of amount of animals that are existing in each ecosystem without other animals being prey to the other. Without that, suffering happens. We can end animal suffering forever if we genetically modify them to never feel pain. And that's the biggest issue that I believe that he has. And one of the biggest issues that it's like, well, you can't do that to animals. Yes. Let's go to the second response. I'm not saying that we should. I'm just going with some of the argumentation and principle and Again, a lot of context is from the other two videos that I made. So this is just more of like a slapstick, bare knuckle bones summation of it all. Response number 2. Animal suffering is more of a problem because there's more suffering from that creature other than humans. If I understand correctly, his premise that because there's more animals that are suffering to a greater degree than humans, regardless of, and they're all doing it to each other in horrible means and methods. Like there was this crocodile, if I remember correctly, was trying to eat a hippo or something, and I think there's a video online, and the crocodile was in the middle of a lake, a small little pool, pond or thing, and there were hippos all around, and the hippos smothered it to death. They were stomping on it, they were chewing on it, they were ripping it to shreds. I don't know if the crocodile or the alligator survived, but they were horribly just to it. But that's the same thing with, like, if another human was trying to kill... if one person tried to kidnap your son or daughter, what would you do? I would probably... I would grab grab his face, most likely a guy. I'd grab his face, and I'd start smothering it into the ground until there is an unidentifiable face to be had, and I'd probably continue going further. But I'd probably even do much darker things if that type of thing happened. If I could plan and think ahead, I would do some very, 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 very dirty, dark stuff to the guy for the next 10, 20 years, or keep him alive in a basement. Just like, hey, you want to do whatever you want to another human being? I'm doing the same to you. And then, again, I'm kind of okay with that being exposed, because that is a very, like, whoa. No, stop it. Bad person, bad man. Just stop it. Like, so, yes, horrible... people do horrible things to other people. Yes. Animals do other horrible things to other animals as well. But if you're going to go with the context of the text of the document, the text from the Bible, that there is a Christian, not a Christian. I'm going all over the place, and I'm sorry. Let me get back to it. If you're going to be pulling loving God from the Christian Bible, you have to have the context for other things that you're arguing for. There is a loving God. You put your faith and trust in Jesus Christ, therefore you have been saved, you have been renewed again. Okay, there's other things as well. When it within Genesis 1:26, depending on the Bible that you're reading it from, then God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish and the sea, over the birds of the sky, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." The biggest issue that I have is that he is using a loving God, but he's not addressing, well, if you're going to pull loving God from the Bible, there's other things that says what an animal is as well. And, well, this loving, well, it's like saying, the quote that I just gave you, and then not addressing the loving God. There's certain contexts that really do play with each other, that you have to have the full context of certain things as to if you're going to be pulling loving God, and you're going to say animal suffering is bad and wrong, that's what proves loving God is not a loving God. Well, did you know that in the Bible as well, the loving God also said that humans reign supreme over the animals? It's like human suffering and animal suffering are not the same within the context of a loving God within the Bible. So your entire premise has been skewed and is false because of the basis of not just atheism, but veganism, where animals and humans are the same. Christianity, specifically the loving God within Christianity, proves within the doctrine, within the very text it says, humans and animals aren't the same. Humans are fundamentally made in the image of God, as humans reign over supreme of the animals upon the earth. This is a fundamental problem with CosmicSkeptic's entire premise of the video. It doesn't remove the issue that he's bringing up about animal suffering. The premise is that human suffering is more of a problem than animal suffering. The address of the issue of animal suffering is not the issue. Animal suffering is a horrible issue. But in the context of a human, No, human suffering in the context of Christianity is infinitely more valuable because they are made in the image of God, the image of God being infinite, beyond measure. So, okay. So, anyways, let's finish the text here. Let's see if I can actually read this thing that I took a photo of. So, okay. Man has reign over all the animals. Should we let animals suffer? No, if we can help it. If there's like, for example, I saved 4 or 5 dogs that were literally roaming the street. I think it was 3. And then I tried to adopt 2 specific dogs, but I realized that the apartment that I live on, it just didn't work for me with my time and schedule, etc. So I had to give them back. But I paid for their adoption fee for the next person to come and adopt them. So I didn't mind it. I was actually pushing my luck with some of the money that I had. But I don't regret it one bit. If anything, I wish I did it like more. That I gave more funding to the humane what is it? Humane shelter? Animal shelter. What is it called? Habitat for Humanity. And that's way off. That's for buildings. Who knows? But I when I was working at Walmart, I was working at McDonald's as a maintenance worker. And there was this dog who had 2 different colored eyes that was literally just running around, and it was such a beautiful dog. It really was. That's probably the one dog that I regret giving up because it was such a beautiful dog. So awesome. And it literally, I skipped work to take the dog back home so it wouldn't be running around the highway. I don't mind that. I was such a good worker that I took 30 minutes out of the day. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this. I didn't tell anybody. I was still a really good worker because I came back and did my entire job, and it's just like I couldn't let a dog do that. So it's, yeah, and I couldn't take care of the dog myself. I had to give it to the shelter. So it was very unfortunate. It had food, it had water. I took care of it for about a day or 2. But it's like I couldn't keep the dog. That was a very unfortunate thing. But then I found another dog that was literally limping. There was another dog that was just roaming around the streets, and I led it to my apartment, and I gave it some food and water. There were 2 dogs that I found, but I think I know who they were belonged to. But I think it was probably 5 dogs in total. I don't know. So again, I understand when it comes to animal suffering. I absolutely do. The importance of it. But in the justification with Christianity, having a fault with Christianity's biggest problem, it's not the biggest problem within Christianity. If anything, it's probably one of the last problems that you ever have to justify within the context of Christianity, because Christianity specifically says the loving God gave humans who are an image, who are the spitting image, not spitting image, but we were made in the image of God, and we reign over the animals upon the earth. That the animals that suffer are below human suffering. Absolutely, beyond measure within the context of Christianity. So you're just flat out wrong with your premise. The topic you are talking about is a problem. It absolutely is a problem. There's videos on YouTube that that show and demonstrate, and they're specifically in India, where they're taking care of the dogs that have been forgotten and lost and abused. There's one video from India, there's lots of, like the Dodo, I think that's one YouTube channel, where they take the camera and they go over to a dog that has been reported that had its legs be destroyed by a person. A person destroyed the hind legs of a dog and left it for dead. The people came over, they took and it was suffering. It was absolutely suffering. They picked up the dog, they took it to the animal hospital, and over weeks, if not months of rehabilitation, the dog was okay. Didn't have use of its hind legs, but it was such a loving and like just wanted to be around other people, and it had to have those wheels on it. So yes, animal suffering is a problem. No one should be ever making the argument that because human suffering is so much more, that means that animal suffering doesn't exist. That's stupid. Like, I've made some stupid arguments, so I don't fault for anybody who makes stupid arguments when in later they realize, oh wait, I was silly. It's the fact within Christianity. Christianity's biggest problem is never an animal suffering. Because, again, it doesn't mean that we should treat an animal to suffer. A human suffering is infinitely times more important than an animal suffering. and I'm going to go through those three things again. Pulling the quote loving God out of the Christian Bible, when it also says in that very same Bible that animals are subservient, humans have reign and supreme over animals. It's like it's one of those things of an argumentation I often see when the Bible says this. How can you possibly believe it? And then they say, well, doesn't the Bible say this to try to convince me to believe in this thing? And it's like, well, wait, which one is it? Either I should believe in the Bible or I shouldn't believe in the Bible. Doesn't it say in the Bible, like, an argument that I usually get is like, why Jesus Christ was a socialist because he believed in sharing. Oh, so we should listen to the Bible. It's like, no. Wait. So we're just nitpicking whatever we want at whatever time to make for whatever reason we want at this time? It's like, that. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. I'm not saying we should pick and we should. That gets into an entirely different argument. But again, it's like the Bible. Jesus said this. This is why I'm a socialist. Wait, okay, well, Jesus also said this. Well, I don't believe in that. So you're just nitpicking. You're just selectively choosing to justify your own logic and your own behavior and your own thoughts and feelings. Isn't that correct? Like, no, because I believe it to be correct. That doesn't make any sense. That gets into a different argument entirely. But with this specific thing, with Cosmic Skeptic's video, is Christianity's biggest problem, and I'm repeating myself over and over because I want to hone in on these two big problems. I'm probably going to rewrite the comment section down below, just because, actually speaking it out loud is a bit different than actually just thinking it in your head. Actually saying it out loud changes that. So I highly recommend anybody who wants to think things out loud and actually wants to get a thought out. If you get your thoughts out and communicate that thought, you'll probably realize, like, oh, maybe I should communicate it or reframe it in a different way. It helps for me. I highly recommend it for anybody out there. So I'm going to say it one more time, that Cosmic Skeptic is absolutely wrong with the premise of his video that he posted 2 or so weeks ago of Christianity's biggest problem is animal suffering. Not because animal suffering is not an issue. Not at all. The fact that Christianity, of a quote-unquote loving God, within the context of the Bible, the loving God created humans. Humans were made in the image of God. Humans have reign and supreme over the animals of the earth. So there is a hierarchy. We are below God. Animals are below us. It doesn't mean we should treat them horribly, but if there is a human that is being mistreated, according to Christianity, that is infinitely times more horrible. For example, like, I would actually go down about 2 or 3 different argumentations, but I just wanted to sum this up. And this is me trying to sum it up because my mind goes down rabbit trails when I'm trying to explain something, because I'm trying to be specific, give context, and preface what I'm trying to argue for, and that can go for hours. So I'm just going to end it right there. I've said it multiple times. I'm going to have I'm going to have the 2 other videos with a preface video and the actual going through the argumentation. And yes, I only get to minute 2, second 11. I only get to 2:11 in the video because the entire video is based upon an incorrect premise. So everything that I would be arguing from here on out would just be not false. Let me phrase that. It's not false, but I would be repeating myself, and it goes back to the same base point of the difference between animals and humans. And if you're going to pull the loving God from the Christian Bible, humans are made in the image of God, the loving God made humans, and humans reign supreme over the animals. So, again, there is a hierarchy there. So, anyways, again, that's the 2 video links, including the 3 video links, 2 of mine, part 1, part 2. His Cosmic Skeptic's video is going to be down below. Please watch the entire thing. Give yourself the most amount of information, the most amount of relevant context that is important to deriving the truth. And What was the other one? I was going to have another video down below. I don't know. Oh, the comment section. I'm going to have my base argument in the comment section down below. Please read it. Please go through it. Give your time to, do whatever. I'm going to try to do it as best I possibly can to articulate my point with the most amount of context, with the minimal amount of words. So thank you very much for being a part of this. This was actually a very interesting video. I didn't expect myself to be here. Really, I did not expect to make this video today. I really didn't. But I'm grateful for CosmicSkeptic for allowing the conversation to continue. Again, he is addressing a very important issue. It is by far the biggest problem. It is not at all, according to Christianity, that he... Again, you might have an issue with Christianity because of animal suffering, but you cannot debunk Christianity's worldview in that regard. It's like, according to Christianity, this. Okay. Thank you very much for being a part of this. Please post your comments, questions, and concerns right down below, because I do want to hear from you. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button, because I would love... that helps me, and it helps me to help you, and helping you helps me, and so on and so forth. Thank you very much for being a part of this, and I'll see you next time. Beep.